I am amazed at the stupidity of some black men. Not all, okay? Not all. You have some brilliant black men out there like my husband. I would have married him if he was an idiot. What am I talking about? In my comments under one of my Will and Jada posts, Claude Nellums felt like he needed to let us know that black women, he said, black women, let's talk about black women, how they chose welfare checks over black men when there wasn't jobs for black men. Let's talk about we let black women off the hook about the bad decision they made. You know what I don't understand about some black men? It is so I think something happened to them. I don't know if it was the school system. I don't know, which is why, our little boys going to private school the whole way, okay? Somebody was asking us yesterday, well, why Michael can't go to school around the corner? That's a new school. That's a new school. I said, no, we chose to send our son to private school. We want the best education. We love small classrooms. And when I chose my husband, I didn't say this part, but when I chose my husband, that was one of the questions I asked about where will our kids be educated, because I just think the private school is better. 35 kids in one class, 35 kindergartners in a class. How you educate 35 kindergartners? And that's our college classroom. College classroom, they won't let more than 25 people in there. We're adults. But a kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade has 35 kids in there. Of course, that's only happened in the hood and in the black and brown community. Okay. It is amazing to me, sir, how you can say how black women chose welfare over you, and my 7-year-old who's still sleeping in the house that his daddy provided for can make the difference and choose between two, A or B. B is better than A. I'm going to go with A. But I just don't understand how in the year of our Lord, sweet little baby Jesus that was laying in the manger, in the year of our sweet little baby Jesus Christ, of the year 2022, I just cannot believe that black men are still using this argument that black women chose welfare over them. I haven't heard that in a while. That's why my feathers are ruffled this morning, because I'm like, no, they're not still using that kind of talking points. Of course, I don't hang around those type of people. Maybe that's why I'm just shocked. It's Friday here in Jersey. It's raining. My window's open. I can hear the rain. How y'all doing? Come back. I have a Will and Jada post. We're going to talk about that. Thank you for your love. My new book. I see you guys are picking it up. Those of you who are in my Patreon, you will get one for free or whatever level you signed up for, but I still need you to go ahead and buy one from Amazon, because that's going to help me. That's showing Amazon that you are buying the books. And of course, you know how we do over here. You buy 1, 2, and you give away 1. So when I send you the 1, you can give it away. Thank you so much for those of you. I still see you guys picking up Take Your Cookie Off the Table devotional, okay? It's what, 30 days or 90 days? Let's see how many days. It's 50 days of renewing your mind, ladies, about your body and what God says about sex, and not letting black men impregnate you and then tell you you're choosing welfare over them. 23 types of guys. This is like the dating guide. I think I'm going to rename it the dating guide. I mean, it has everything in here that you can possibly need to know about dating, how to dress, how to talk, what questions to ask, the different types of guys, like the foolish man that put down here, black women chose welfare over them. So thank you so much for your love. Come back. I'm going to talk about Will and Jada. I saw it on the news last night that they made a decision. Blah, 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 blah. So he says, I'm going to read it again. Black women, let's talk. This is under my Will and Jada post when, y'all talk about black women need to be protected, okay? And then I asked you, nobody has given it to me, but I'm sure some of you know. I asked you for the stats of the percent of black children living in single mother's home, okay? Even if you take away those that are divorced, this still number is high. I asked you to look up the percent of what percent does black men made up in America, and what percent do they make up in the jail system? I didn't mention this, but I should have mentioned it. I want you young ladies that are in school right now, or even those of us that, we didn't graduate too long, think back to your classroom and see how many black men you remember sitting in your classroom. I still remember that because that was a question. The wonderful Professor Luther Gunther of African American Studies. That was one of the questions he asked us. Look around, black women. Look around in your classroom. And this was at Essex County College. I had on my Essex County shirt. I took it off because, I don't want them to think I'm talking for them. And I said, okay, I got to go over there and get me some new shirts. Look around in your classroom as you finish your college education, black women. Look around and see how many black men are in college. Of course, college is not for everybody, okay? He says, Claude says, black women, let's talk about black women, how they chose welfare checks over black men when there wasn't jobs for black men. Let's talk about we let black women off the hook about the bad decision they make. Now, I will agree with Claude in that letting black women off the hook, but y'all know if you followed me over here, everybody's on the hook over here, because one of the things I talk about over here at Church Girls Want to Get Married too is us taking responsibility, taking accountability. Okay, we overlook one baby over here, but boo boo, you don't have 3, 4, 5 more babies with no husband, and Pookie, Ray Rays, and Tyros. My response, and I post this in my community tab, I say, I don't know one black woman where the husband was providing, protecting, and professing that she chose welfare over her husband or children's father. Apparently, if she chose welfare over her husband, then welfare was provided and protecting her. And this is why I don't understand why we're still having this conversation. Because you want to tell me, let's use me for an example, okay? I am one of the few wives where my husband is total provided for everything. I don't pay not one bill in this house. Okay, the only thing that comes out of my pay stub, and my paycheck don't go in the house account. We've been married 9 years. My house, my job, at my job, it goes right into my personal account. None of my money goes into the account that paid our house account. Okay, the only thing that comes out of my pay is our health insurance, because we live in Jersey. I work in Jersey. My husband worked in New York, and with my insurance, because I live in Jersey, I pay about $600 a month from my family of 4, and it didn't matter how many, you could have 10, that you would still pay family. You would still pay $600 a month. So every 2 weeks, $300, about $300. That is health insurance. Our union covers our dental, and though we still pay a dental fee to our union, and the union give us a stipend every year for glasses. Okay, so that's the only thing. So in all, about $600 a month. My husband would be paying $1,300 a month for our health insurance if he had to pay for health insurance. And even with that, it would be so hard because of the doctors, you know, working in New York. So you want to tell me, sir, that you black men back then, let's say my mother's generation, right? I'm 44. You're telling me, sir, that my mother's generation and even mine, I had Lexi at 16, that you were providing a roof, a comfortable roof, comfortable, okay? Comfortable mean not in the ghetto. A comfortable roof over their heads. You, sir, were putting food on their table. You were providing money for them to be comfortable, buy food, buy clothes. And you were paying for the most expensive thing, which is health insurance. You're telling me, sir, that you black men were providing all of these things, and she decided to put you out of the house and chose welfare over you. I was on welfare when I was 16. I had Lexi at 16. I had no choice. You know, I'm from the islands. Caribbean people's always going to feed you, okay? If you ever hungry, find your Caribbean house and say, Miss Smith, I'm hungry. Can you feed me? We was raised that way. So you always going to get some food. But you know what the most expensive part about it is the health insurance. Have you ever looked at your health insurance bill? I never looked at it because I have insurance. I have the good insurance. You know, we go to the doctor. The first thing the nurses say, oh, you have that good insurance. We have the good insurance. I never looked at it. I started looking at my insurance bill that Lexi turned 27 and my insurance put her off, and I'm trying to get her back. Matter of fact, I'm gonna call them today, trying to get her back on there. And then, you know, she has Medicaid, but you know how Medicaid are, the doctors, you can't pronounce their names, and they're far in between, and ain't no black ones because I prefer either a black doctor or a Spanish doctor. I can't find out. So I paid for her physical examination, which was $400, and that's with the discount. The doctor gave me a discount. $400 for physical, but her Medicaid paid for her blood work. Have you ever looked at how much it costs to do blood work? Forget Lexi. Forget Lexi's 27. Have you ever looked at your baby? Hello, supposed to bring your baby to the doctor, get a physical at least once a year. Have you ever looked at your child? Michael just turned 7. Have you ever looked at your child blood work? How much it costs for a 6-year-old to get their blood tested and everything? Have you ever looked at it? So you're telling me, sir, that you pumped these black women up with all these babies, and you were paying these medical bills. When I went to have little Michael, I had a headache. They gave me a Tylenol. I looked at the bill. Do you know how much the hospital charged for one Tylenol, y'all? It was $450. I could not believe. One little baby Tylenol, my husband could have went to the pharmacy and got me a whole 24 Tylenol for $6. No, one little baby Tylenol to make my head feel better was $450. So you're telling me when your baby mama went to the hospital to pop all these kids out that you was pumping her up with, you was going to pay the money for her to have these babies, but no, she chose Medicaid. Is that what you're telling me? And don't let the kid have a problem. One of our co-workers, oh my God, the baby was coming, or we was praying, not Jesus, the baby, Lord, the baby. We was praying, we was fasting, because the baby coming, they tell the baby not gonna make it. We pray, we calling everybody, pray for the baby, he said, Miss Thompson, I could not believe the hospital bill was almost $2 million. $2 million, Miss Thompson, to save the baby's life. And now you see that boy, he looks like a giant. You're telling me, Pookie, Riri, and Tyrone, that you had the money to pay for these hospital bills, but the black woman chose the Medicaid over you. Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me that you was putting food on the table. And let me tell y'all, at 16, my daughter is 27. Lexi will be 28 in August. At 16 years old, I was getting $322 in TANF, that's what it's called, in cash for Lexi and me. Two people was $322. Food stamps, I don't remember. Maybe $200 in food stamps, right? Do you know that 25 years later, two people was still getting $322? They just changed it. I live in Jersey. Governor Murphy just changed it recently from $322. I don't know what the number is now. So you're telling me, sir, let's say it was the mama and one child. The mother chose $322 a month. Let's say $200 in food stamps. So that's $500. She chose $500 over the money you was bringing in. Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me you had good insurance. You know, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna. You telling me you was providing Aetna, Blue Cross, and all, my husband insurance is Cigna, honey. Ooh, child, that's for rich people, child. You're telling me you was providing health insurance for her and the child, but she chose the Medicaid where you have to go to a clinic. You had their mamas with the Medicaid have to go to a clinic because very few doctors take the Medicaid because they didn't get paid much. You're telling me she chose to go sit in a clinic with 200 mamas and crying babies waiting to see one little doctor, then chose the private insurance you had where she could go sit and see a private doctor over you. You're telling me that, right? Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me you were providing comfortable home for her, but no, she chose the Section 8 and the subsidy. I never got Section 8. I never got subsidy because I was always working. Once I was in college, Essex County and Rutgers, I was always working. I never got no section. I always paid full rent. That's why I stayed in a studio apartment my whole time I was in school. And once I started working, I got me a nice 1-bedroom, and I gave Lexi the bedroom, and I slept in the living room on the futon for years because I was paying off my student loans and saving money to buy a house. So you're telling me you was providing a nice home in a nice community, but no, she chose the subsidy over in the gangs with the gangs, the people shooting. You got to tie your car up to the tree. Kids can't walk home from schools by themselves. They're ducking bullets. You're telling me you provided a comfortable home for the Black woman in the community, but they chose to go and live over there in the ghetto in the hood with bullets flying all over. Is that what you're telling me? Because apparently, if Black women chose welfare over you, sir, apparently the welfare was better than you. Y'all have not realized that thing. You have not realized that if Black women chose the government over you, I heard someone say Black women made the government the baby daddy. Well, if Black women made the government the baby daddy, you have not realized that probably the government was doing something that you can't do. But let's just put that aside. Since the Black woman chose the welfare over you and you had all this money, where is it? Where is the generational wealth that you Black men have left for your children since they chose the welfare over you? Since you had all that money, you should have been having the generational wealth. Show it to me. Show me. I don't know if it was my husband. I was talking to him about something. And my husband, we could have real candid conversations. One of the things I love about him. But I think it was my husband was like, if you want to know the stature of a man, you ask him about his next generation. What are you leaving for your children? That's the stature of a man. If you live in paycheck to paycheck. So I don't understand why we're still having this conversation. I don't understand why Black men is still saying this foolishness. Then Claude, let me tell you how foolish you are. Let me tell you. He said, Black women, let's talk about Black women, how they chose welfare checks over Black men when there wasn't jobs for Black men. Oh! So y'all didn't have any jobs. Huh? You didn't have any jobs. So we and the children were supposed to sit there and starve with you. They were supposed to starve with you or go on down to the social agency and fill out the paperwork. Least you get some money. Least you get some food, depending on how many people, because the money's based on how many people's in your house and the food is based on how many people, right? It was the pandemic. They were supposed to starve. Black women and our Black children, we were supposed to starve versus going down to the public agency and fill out. In the pandemic, they were getting double or triple or whatever. They wasn't supposed to go to doctors, which is why still today, Black men don't go to doctors. Granted. We as Black people, we have reasons why, especially Black men, not to go to doctors. But let's just a physical. Ain't nothing going inside of you as a physical. Physical, you go, they check your eyes, they check your ear, they check your blood, they make sure you're not overweight. They make sure your iron is right, your kidneys are flowing. They can tell you everything. They take one little blood, and my doctors, your kidneys are good, your liver function is good, everything is good just by taking blood work. The same Black man who was not and is not going to doctors, you're mad that the Black woman went down to the public agency to sign up for Medicaid to take her kids to doctor. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense to me. You pump Black women up with all these babies. You have absolutely nothing to take care of her and her children, provide for her, but you're mad that she went down to the public agency, got her a couple of dollars to buy some diapers, got her some food to pay for her to put food on her table, and got her some Medicaid to take her kids to the doctor. And you're mad that she chose that over you. I need somebody to help me make this foolishness sense, because I don't. My 7-year could tell the difference. And y'all grown, crusty, rusty, dusty behind Black men are still out here crying and crying. I'll talk about Black women chose welfare over you. Was you doing better than welfare? You want to tell me? My husband is doing all of this and I'm going to choose welfare over all this? Welfare that can't pay for this house. The way we live, welfare can't pay for it. Right now, I could call and leave a message from my doctor. She'll call me back. My daughter has had Medicaid since she was classified at 2. She's never used it. Well, we used Medicaid, regular Medicaid, until I got my job. But I had one doctor, Dr. Carson. Dr. Carson, bless his soul. Bless Dr. Carson. Dr. Carson took all the little girls from the neighborhood that had babies. We all went to Dr. Carson. Dr. Carson wasn't getting paid no money because he said, come, I want to make sure the kids, he would go home and say, you have a baby, you need to come on down to the doctor. Come, let me check the baby. Because the girls they didn't have the money to bring the baby. And he would say, go sign up for Medicaid. But he would still take the girls from the neighborhood that didn't have the money to bring the baby to he would say, come bring the baby. And y'all mad that Black women chose welfare over y'all? Well, dumb, if she chose welfare over you, welfare was doing something that you wasn't doing. Why are we still having this conversation, twin? I got to go. I can't. I love y'all. Be sure to show me love. My Patreon is linked below. My Cash App. I know somebody keep asking for my Cash App. That's linked below. 10 years a girlfriend, lady. Stop being foolish. Y'all see the black man talking mess about y'all. Take your cookie off the table, and of course, how to read your Bible in 1 year. You know, if you one day, any day of the year, there's a scripture for it. I love you. I have to